Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Anonymous, and here's her story. First, I want to say happy fall to everyone. It was a scorching, punishing summer. I'm sure everyone is happy to see the season change. I know I am. It's been a while, so I figured we could just riff on how the states gradually boiled the frogs into funding a mountain of pyramid schemes, pet projects, Ponzi schemes of the elite. Maybe I'll touch on the need for a currency reset, but I know I tend to ramble. When inflation and petrodollar manipulation is real, while inflation and petrodollar manipulation is real, I'm no expert, so I'll try to get back to basics. I think in the past decades, not only did some folding money go farther, there was a lot less of it and hardly no access to credit. Right. I mean, that's all the devaluation of the American dollar. You know, it doesn't matter what you raise the minimum wage, to, because our currency's been so devalued by it not being backed by gold, and we're just printing money over more and more and more and more, and it just makes our currency less and less valuable. If you want to know what wealth in the country is and what your money is worth, it's the dollar test. How much bread can you buy for $1? And today, compared to when the baby boomers started, is a 400% increase, inflated increase of how much less your dollar buys. That's how much it's been devalued. It's 400% less valuable than it was 30 years ago, the dollar. So it doesn't matter. You can make minimum wage $20 an hour. Everything else, prices, everything else is still inflated. You're still not going to be able to buy anything. So when a kid earned a little doing chores or babysitting or odd jobs, they always had the feel of growing up and the responsibilities that come with it. Don't get me wrong, there's a certain need for child labor laws. However, I've seen foreign states where they have the kids help out in rural areas too. It's not just sitting in a fluorescent fattening pen and waiting for the bell to ring and rote memorization. Kids need to romp, work things out for themselves, and practice problem solving on the fly. That's why private schools are private. They treat students as individuals and actually care about their skills, potential, and how to mold them past the so-called magical age of 18. All public schools are now is a primer for prison or obedient hamster wheel runner. Yeah, I mean, if you look at a school and you look at a prison, they look pretty similar. They treat you pretty similarly too. When you look at old architecture and businesses, you can see people use their imagination and pride to build all sorts of unique, colorful, and creative handiwork. Now everything is being leveled and built to the same sterile businesses, and every city will soon look the same. Right, I mean, that's just your dystopian future. That's what socialism and communism breeds. No originality, no beauty, no anything. Just bland, boring, milquetoast. Don't think for yourself. Don't create for yourself. It's all society being molded to not think, to not create. Bland, boring, that's the old Soviet Union. That's what these socialist countries look like. That's what they build. They build these ugly monstrosities to nothing. I mean, you look at old Detroit and old Chicago, and you see the beauty and the architecture of those just dilapidated, crumbling homes and structure. They were gorgeous at one time. Beautiful, large architectural wonders. Detroit especially. I mean, Detroit used to be called the Paris of The Paris of the West. Go back, look at some of the pictures of like the old Grand Central Station in Detroit, whatever they called it. They made this massive, giant architectural wonder that has just sat empty now for decades. I see no other reason for this than to ease everyone into nothing but a repetitive, cutthroat, hand-to-mouth existence where we all rely on them and they keep moving the goalpost further just to make it through the day. Well, that's what they're doing to everybody. It's to get you to submit, to not think, and to give up, and to be loyal little serfs and servants. One of the biggest sleight of hand ever is the layers of bureaucracy and entitlement thieves that drain the motivation and life out of the useful idiots, as they so lovingly refer to us. Imagine if everyone wrote letters damning food, insurance, and other essentials. Stop with these high-concept advertising campaigns. They're already kind of doing it. I mean, they're basically already doing it. When you hear, like, companies come out against, like, GMO food and Monsanto, you know how many people Monsanto feeds around the world? Do you think some kid starving in some third world country cares if the food that was grown is from Monsanto is used with GMO? Yet people live longer and longer than they ever have in this world. Yet we keep hearing things like GMO and Monsanto and growing food. Yet we're living longer than ever. Huh. Weird. I mean, what do you think the Green New Deal is? It's just another high-concept advertising campaign to prevent people from eating and getting food and being able to make money so they can survive and feed themselves and take cars away and take transportation away, and to cripple society, to make society loyal serfs. That's all the Green New Deal is. It's just one of these high-concept advertising campaigns. You need these things anyway, and it's just a slick money grab to dole out stupid cameo appearances. These things are not debatable. You have to have them. Not to mention the CEOs pay themselves handsome salaries, but like Chris Rock, you don't get your money back if shit doesn't happen. Another thing is the charity government benefits racket. People were always willing to help when someone truly needs it. They still are. We're still the most charitable nation in the world. I mean, look at what's going on with Bill Gates. I mean, Bill Gates is this liberal, near socialist. I don't like him. Okay? I think he's worth, $200 billion? He gives, he gives billions of dollars away to charity every year, every day. He's giving away hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars a day to charities of his choosing. That's not good enough. The government, you don't get to decide who gets it. There's plenty of charities that are being funded with plenty of money. Charity isn't a problem in this country or in the world. Charities run by governments is what's the problem. It's because the government can't run shit. Uh-oh, hairball. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. Staley lets out. That's his hairball moan. So there's gonna be moaning and spitting up. So I'm back. Okay. Let's see, where were we? People are always willing to help out when someone truly needs it. But now that old crusty Uncle Sam gets to play Robin Hood on other people's money, it goes off the rails. Exactly. That was my point with Bill Gates. Like, it's not good enough we get to decide who's worthy of our charity. No, that's the government, because the government can't run anything effectively. I'm not saying they now reward bad behavior while the responsible people flip the bill. Oh, wait, I'm not just saying that they now reward bad behavior while the responsible people foot the bill. I'm saying they enable the monolithic corporations to not have to pay a fair wage. They don't have to worry about the profits. That's bull. They're buoyed artificially by having full-time employees who also qualify for EBT. Doesn't sound like a level playing field to me. Yeah, that's Amazon. Sounds like the government just signed the death certificate on all small businesses who get the shaft and can't hang on with no hand up if they fall behind. They just get the IRS busting down the door and emptying their register. On top of that, you know what Shakespeare said about lawyers, wink wink. I never knew why people idolize the appearance of affluence while not questioning if it might be possibly be ill-gotten gains. The legal system, the lobbyists, wasn't meant to be a lottery. If it were for the people, why would you need a lawyer for even little things? I know people who could have sued for things and didn't, but the appeal of a come-up is extremely tempting. So here go the massive slip and fall industry of frivolous lawsuits. Not to mention real victims are victimized again with class action ripoffs because they're lumbering dinosaur cases to ensure the legal team breaks off as much cash as they can. The more top heavy it gets, the more expense is tacked on to absolutely everything we buy. Right. And this is something I have brought up, okay? You know, we could talk about this policy or that policy changing in this country, but not a whole hell of a lot is going to change until something is done about tort reform. Until the laws are changed where we get a loser pays system in this country where if you sue somebody and you lose and it's frivolous, you pay. You pay the attorney fees, and you should have to pay whatever it was you were suing for. That would be the fine. If you had won, if whatever you were trying to get, you should be on the hook for at that point for these frivolous lawsuits, and these lawyers should be disbarred. Okay, there should be a cap in this country on how many fucking lawyers, how many bar licenses are actually issued. Because the problem is, you got all these sociopaths running around with bar licenses and nobody to use them on. Well, now I got to make money. So if there's not enough criminals, if we can't create enough criminals, okay, and apparently we just can't, even with everything we've done with throwing more people in prison than any other country on this planet, it's not enough to feed the lawyers. Screwing up the family court system and dragging people through divorce courts and family courts and all the money that gets wasted and goes to the lawyers and judges there. That's not enough. They need the civil cases where they run roughshod and grind the legal system to a halt and harass and bully and get money out of people because it's just more expensive to fight the case than it is to win the case. Why? Because all the lawyers are making, like, your lawyer, their lawyer, they're all laughing. They yell in court at each other, like, this guy, that guy, what a piece of shit. And then they go, as soon as you're gone, they're calling each other up and laughing. Drawing it out, how do we drag out every bloody dime out of these people? And you got this other class of lawyers and judges, like, and who I would put at the top of that is Judge Andrew Napolitano on Fox, with his stupid laugh. I'll tell you what him and a lot of guys like him are. They are legal sadists. They like to use the law to hurt and gaslight people. Well, you know, it might not be right, but the way the law's written, there's nothing, even though he didn't do it, technically the way it is, it's a violation of the law. So then Congress would have to write it, but they're not going to do it. So now they go to prison. Legal sadists. They love telling you how twisting the law and the way the law is written might be unjust to fairness, but because the way it's legally correct, that shit drives me insane. Insane. Legal sadists. Lawyers, that's what most of them are. Lawyers, judges, legal sadists. Legal sadism. It's like an S&M. They get like a sexual charge out of it by hurting you, by twisting the Constitution and using laws for unjust and unfair. You can't say unjust because according to the justice system, it's the law. Unfair legal outcomes that you can't do nothing about because some twisted way the law is written. Isn't that interesting? Legal sadism. Legal sadism is what is a huge part of what drives societal narcissism and is what has been destroying society worldwide. These judges that get off on handing down these unfair family court sentences, and I'll bring up that judge in Texas with the kid and his mother's a doctor trying to call him Jade instead of he's a boy, the twin boys. I'm trying not to get completely demonetized here. Understand, the jury in that case found for the mother. So now we got a jury that not only should they never be on a jury again, okay, for making a decision like that, they should lose their voting privileges and their driver's licenses because you're too stupid to do either. That you would do that you would set up a child to be chemically castrated, that you can't see through this mother's web of lies. And the judge went along with it. Originally gag ordered it until it got out into the public sphere, and the Texas governor said, wait a minute, we're investigating it. Then all of a sudden the judge steps back in and like, oh, no, we're going to set aside the jury verdict. We're going to set that aside. Oh, now it'll be like an equal conservatorship over medical decisions because she got caught. Legal sadism. Legal sadism. It has many, many effects, many levels in the family courts, in the criminal courts, in the civil courts. Legal sadists. Great way. Listen, we know our justice system is completely corrupted. It's been corrupted by leftists. Now you're getting Soros money being poured into the criminal divisions where he's now funding local DA. George Soros is funding local DA races, putting in these lunatics like Krasner in Philadelphia who are letting first-degree murderers walk. Why? Because they want the fucking chaos. Legal sadists. Legal sadism. Societal narcissism driven by legal sadism. Now the rotating debt has become crushed. And understand, what are 95% of the politicians? They're all lawyers. Senators, Congress, most of them are lawyers. Most presidents are lawyers. Trump's not. He's a businessman. That's why they hate him. It's another club Trump's not in. The Bar Association Club. Another club he's not in. Now that rotating debt has become crushing and companies keep expecting more and more from workers while paying less and less, I guess I will finally call it. They're done with regular people. They set up a sort of bribe, if you will. They knew they needed to mine the ideas and pick people's brains for their intelligence, but in order to do that, they had to focus more on a carrot than the stick. They say success is doing just a little bit better than your neighbors. So people were not only allowed to have a house, a car, and some disposable income, they also had the gift of their time to tinker, to vacation, to enjoy their life. Now people think unless you work yourself into exhaustion and spend every minute chasing a buck with no let up, you're a loser. And if that's the way it's always been, and that's the way it's always been, but it just wasn't like that. That may be the biggest fake of all. Yeah, exactly. When these boomers tell you how hard they worked, when? Because I always remember, even though my father worked retail, he was home every weekend. He was home every weekend, and he was never home later than 6 o'clock. 6:30. Ever. Businesses were closed on Sundays. You had blue laws. Places closed early on Saturdays. Like, now it's just like anything to occupy your time. It's open. It's there. Because when everything's open, people got to work there. It's like, oh, well, you can spend time. These places are open late. You can do that as a family. Well, who's running these places on holidays and on weekends and on Sundays? Who's running them? Who's working them? So there might be a portion of the elite that's able to walk around and enjoy it. I'm sure there's plenty of them. But the average schmo who has to fucking work, who has to work 2 jobs or 60 hours a week, they got no time to go do those things on their own. That's the way they want it. Or maybe I've just had it with the double, triple, and quadruple dipping of suits who always pay themselves first while keeping everyone else on the hook for their lifestyles. Value for value is one for the history books, and some days it just doesn't seem worth it. You know me, Ollie. I'm a rascal when it comes to meandering stream of consciousness, so I better wrangle myself in. But I hope your listeners like some of my thoughts and musings. Now let's break out the chilly and sweater weather, shall we? Let's forget our troubles and tailgate with beer. LOL. So, yeah, well, I'm not going to be tailgating with beer today because, today's the inept bowl. The Jets versus the Giants. I mean, that's going to be... I don't know why I watch that team. It just destroys me. So... what we got here, and I've talked about tort reform before, and really, look, societal narcissism is driven by legal sadism, okay? Because you got a bunch of sociopathic, borderline sadists in the legal profession, and that drives so many other aspects of our society, okay? Because you can't get justice for the other things you talked about in here for a legitimate complaint. Why? Because the system's been ground to the halt by these scum-sucking lawyers, these bottom feeders, these sadists with law degrees looking for anyone to use them on. Until this country goes to a loser pays system, okay, and to a real tort reform, loser pays system, and not only loser pays, you pay whatever you were suing for. Not only do you pay the legal fees of the other person, you're going to be liable for what you were trying to obtain fraudulently. Otherwise, it's never going to stop. There needs to be a cap on how many bar licenses are issued in this country because it's just too dangerous. Okay, you're just looking for somebody to apply the law to. How is that ever? If you got an abundance of people with law licenses, okay, there's other areas of law, state law, other things. Even a state law fighting over estates, it's always a battle. You're going to need clients. You're going to have to search out and find people to use it on in order to drum up business. How in the hell is that ever going to be a benefit to society? Ever. It's not. And when when 90+% of your politicians in government are also lawyers, the system is built to protect itself. Societal narcissism run by legal sadists. I mean, that's really all I can do with that. So, I hope you liked it. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you so much for your contribution and story, Anonymous. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Again, please leave any comments or opinions in the comment section below. And if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like it to have a private video made, or to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been the Narcissistic Resistance. Take care.